Good morning. It's Wednesday the 20th of March today. It's hole cutting day. I'm going to cut out the bulkhead, if I'm lucky, all in one go. If not, bit by bit. Aluminium sheeting first, and then the metalwork of the van. That's all marked out. I've lost as much cable as I can, and what's left I've just stuck in a bit of the conduit that actually the battery charger cable is going, just to keep it out of the way. I'm going to have to be a bit careful when I get back down there anyway. But first thing I'm going to do now is cut up a piece of wood, put a slot in it, and use that as a guide. I can screw that to the wall of the van, and that gives me a guide to run my saw blade through. It might work, it might work not, I don't know. But I'm going to give it a go like that anyway. I don't really want to do it freehand. I'm a bit sad, I like doing things straight and vertical. But that's the next job. Cut a bit of wood, screw it on the wall. So there we are. One piece of repurposed oak flooring with a slot in it. I've never used a reciprocation saw before ever, amazingly. And I've got a hell of a lot of stuff and tools, but I've never used one. So we'll see how straight this goes. Whether I decide within a few inches not to cut the whole thing, or the blade is too short, or whatever. But Craig Harrower on the Facebook ambulance conversion group recently posted some pictures of his attempt to do this. He's cut his hole in almost exactly the same place as mine. Directly behind where I'm going to cut that is the handbrake cable, so it can't go any further over to the right. And in my case, because I'm reusing the lockers on the right hand side, and the fridge will be going there as well, that's as far to the right as I can get this. On the left, I'm restricted because I'm not taking the cabinets out on that side. Therefore I've left myself a 2-inch overlap, which is approximately the width of the reciprocating saw's body, so that I can try and get square through. I've been underneath the van and I put some sheeting above the fuel tank, which is down there. Just want to avoid any chance of any sparks. Well, it's not so much sparks, it's hot pieces of metal. Diesel doesn't tend to ignite that easily, but hot metal on plastic burns holes, and that's bad. Last thing you want is a self-ventilating diesel fuel tank, because you end up with quite a mess, and some way out of pocket expense wise. So time lapse next, while I cut down to just the very top part of the trunking through to the other side of the van. There's actually the trunking, these 3 holes, they actually go down at quite a sharp angle. You can actually see daylight down there. The cut is going to come out just on top of a bend in the yellow part of the metal. There's no point going any further than that, and that will also form part of the step. So I'll stop the cut probably just past the entrance to this trunking, because then obviously I've only got to cut through those 2 little joiny pieces and across to the left there, and that's the entire panel out. So time lapse next. Let's see how we get on. Change of plan. Reciprocating saw ain't going to do it in a million years. Blades all over the place. It's not straight. And I'm not brave enough to try it. So I'm going back to a tool I love and trust, my angle grinder. I'll just have to do it in stages. And right now I could do with a bigger angle. I've got a bigger angle grinder. Oh, I wonder if I've got a metal blade. Right, might have to go and buy a metal blade, but I use this angle grinder constantly. I've had it years, and I trust it. Whereas a reciprocating saw, that blade is going all over the shop. It isn't going straight. Even with a fine saw blade, I think I'm chance of my arm, I'll have an accident. So bit by bit. a couple of places. There must be something behind there. Where's my drill gone? Charge that battery, I think. Right, put that there for a moment. What did you catch? Tape. I'll mute the sound of that. There's a piece of aluminium bulkhead or strengthening bar behind there. The blade caught it when I was doing the score cut. So that's penetrated about 3/4 of an inch. Now to get through the other side, and the other side is thicker sheeting. So I should pause now, kind of think about what tool to use next. Bigger angle grinder. That'll get through it. I haven't used this angle grinder for quite some time. Last time I used it was to cut a hole in the wall in our conservatory to fit a new door. When we bought this bungalow, one of the windows of the conservatory was so pissed it was incredible. How the pillock even got it in, I don't know. I might have a photograph somewhere of it. If I do find it, I'll stick it into this video. But I ended up cutting the window out, cutting a hole for the door frame, and putting a door and window in. So I forgot I had this. I haven't used it for a long time. Right, let's make a bigger hole. So far so good. No wires damaged. Got a slot about as low as I'm going to get it. Using the guard on the angle grinder as a guide and as a plunge. So just got to trim off the corners now, and that piece should come off. Jigsaw time. Just rearrange the cables a bit. So I get it with the jigsaw. let's give it a go. Sorry for getting away, but obviously needs must and all that. Just that little tiny bit that I can't get at. Let's see if we can do something about that. Big thing. Where is it plugged in? That one? That one. Glasses. And the last part of the exercise, good grief, I have to use a handsaw. So, just improvised a quick DIY, whatever you call it, backless saw. Might have to shorten it. Let's see if it will cut. Go the other one. You're done. You're sort of done. Work out what's going on with that in a minute. Sort of almost come through. Oh, there's a wire there. Don't want to cut that wire off, do we? Go away, silly wire. So it's not, that's moving, that's done. That worked. Take the strap off. Now then, moment of truth. See what Horlicks are made of this. Oh! It's all in real time, so if I cut this off, kill myself or whatever, I haven't cut through that. I missed. There's something underneath. That's the plastic. Wedge it. wire. What are you made of then? Be careful with that one. I wonder if I can dismantle that without doing much damage. I'm not sure that's going to come unglued, but let's drill it out and see if I can do it. So, the flexible ducting is held on to these metal rings that are riveted onto the aluminium by dirty great Jubilee clips. I wonder why they weren't pulling out. Anyway, I just did a bit of exploring. So there's one arm, pliers. There's the other Jubilee clip, which I may or may not have actually cut through. That's probably why it was fighting me. Did it come off? Oh yes, yes. Jubilee clip. So that is now should be loose. Detach it from the almost loose. Glue on there, so that is now in theory free. Do I need to drill that one out? Yes I do. Yeah, let's take that one off as well. What not to do with an old paint scraper. This thing is brilliant. I've used this for all sorts of jobs. It's there you go. Note to self, put things away as you're working. There she comes. Right. Everything that come out. Bit of the reinforcing wire. Grab the Jubilee clip. Come on. There she goes. And now it should be free to come out, I think. Yep. It must be cup of tea time. There we go. Part 1 done. and now to cut through the bulkhead, which I can do from the other side. So I need to go mark up, measure up, back shortly. Right, so I had a quick clean up, and I've just transferred a line from the cut straight edge onto the yellow steel. It doesn't have to be brilliant accurate, because I will be framing this opening out with timber. And now I'm going to draw a few pilot holes, and that will give me the cutting line on the other side, in theory. So that's the line marked out. Next job, automatic centre punch. I'll just punch a few holes. Oh, got to remove that bit of metal yet. Off the corner. And now drill a load of pilot holes with a suitably not used it before type drill. That'll do. So time for phase two. I'm not going to film this from inside the cab. There isn't room, and it ain't safe having cables all around my feet. So I'm just going to go in the cab, start with the angle grinder. As you saw just now, I've drilled a load of holes, been around the other side, put masking tape on, marked it out with a pencil. So we're as near as damn it in line with the opening in the that I've already created. A few millimetres really ain't going to make any difference. So here we go, let's get on with it. That was easier than I expected. So, just a couple of tiny cuts left to go, and out it comes. Bear with me. Open that. So I'm going to cut the last part with the angle grinder. This could actually, oh, I missed a fair bit. This could actually jump all over the place. Take it out with the saw instead. Where have I cut to? There. I thought we might grab it. Good. Right, there you go. Oh! He says, dragging it through. Yeah, caught up. Let you wait. So, there we have a hole. Now I need to fill it up with a door. So that'll do for today's edit. What is it now? 3:30. Time to clear up a hell of a lot of metal swarf. I've covered a lot of stuff in there, but it's made a mess. So, hoovering job. But there is a hole. I'm not going to cut the top. We may get another inch by taking a bit of that yellow metal work away, but that's a lot of work for a very, very limited amount of benefit. Same at the bottom there. The step's going to be harder than I anticipated, but that's because of the way, in fact, let's take the camera off the tripod. So there we are. Daylight down the bottom there. Fuel tank's covered up with a piece of board and a sheet of aluminium, because it is underneath these two pieces of duct in here. On my vehicle there's actually a large air vent over there, so I couldn't really have brought this hole any further left anyway. As it is, you know, it's going to be passenger seat, that's pretty much lined up with the handbrake, but the door will open out to about here. That should, well, it allows us to get through. I've now got to build a frame to support all this. It's actually quite flimsy. There's not a lot of structural strength there on its own. There are beams there, structural beams. I'll make sure I reinforce that and brace it up top and bottom with the frame I'm going to build into this box. I don't know whether there's going to be any twisting effect between the cab and the box body, and whether I need to use something like I've done here, some kind of rubber seal or something, or rather just fix a permanent door frame between the two parts. I'll probably do a permanent door frame, and if there's flex in, it will break, and then I'll build something else with some movement built in. But at the moment I think I want to make it rigid, because I want to actually rebuild some strength that's now been lost from what I've just done. But there you go, there's a hole. Didn't manage to wreck any cabling. Probably didn't need to cut this trunking back as far as I needed to. I wanted to get to this point here, and I'm going to build a small threshold here, nothing massive. Probably put a 45-degree angle on there, just try and prevent it being a trip hazard. But that gives me a good sized box now for these cables, heating pipes, anything else I want to pull through here. There you go, I'm quite happy with today's effort. In all honesty, it was either going to go one way or the other, wasn't it? I'd have either made a complete horlicks of it, or killed myself, or both, or we've ended up with an opening. And we've got an opening. So now I've got a lot of hoovering to do, a lot of clean up. This is not a job you want to do on a wet, damp day when all the metal filings stick to condensation on the bodywork. It's a lovely day today, absolutely lovely. Really warm, really nice, everything's dry. I can get everything hoovered up before it gets too damp this evening. Anyway, thanks for watching.